there, folks. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for joining us. In today's episode, we're going to be making a beautiful Tuscan salami by the name of Sbriciolona. The word Sbriciolona is kind of a play on two different words. Finocchio, which means fennel, and spriciolare, which means to crumble. So this salami is going to have a fennel-forward flavor with a soft and crumbly-like texture in the mouth. That means we're not going to dry it to its normal 40%. This is actually going to be dried to something closer to about 30 or 31%, maybe even 32 at the absolute max. If we were to let the salami dry to 40%, 41%, it would then be considered the Finocchiona salami, but we're not going that route. We're going to see what that soft, crumbly-like texture does. And because we are pulling it so soon, we want to go larger diameter to give it an extended dry time to really develop those flavors. Don't forget, today we're going to be giving away the fourth and final bundle prize package from the sausage maker. That giveaway happens at the very end of the day. So if you've been keeping up with the show, hopefully you've already registered to enter that contest. If you're not signed up, check the pinned comment or the description box below, and I'll put a link to the video. It's episode 20, the Guatemalan longaniza. We cover all the details in that video of what you need to do to enter. It's not too late. All right, let's make the Tuscan Sbriciolona.
Let's take a look at the meat for the Sbriciolona. Notice that I've already processed everything into small pieces, perfect for the grinder. We've got lean pork, pork belly, and pork back fat. My total fat content for this sausage is about 30%, and we do want this partially chilled. Right now it's cold, but I want it a little colder, so into the freezer it goes. I really enjoy using 100+ millimeter casings when it comes to dry cured meats. The flavor that's developed over the course of 3-4 months is just absolutely wild. And this is a piece of unused bung that I had left over from a different project. So you'll notice both sides are open. Typically, the beef bung is capped on one side. So depending on how much you're going to be making, you could use a whole one or a portion of one. We're not making too much today. We're only going to be making about 1 kilo. And so I'm probably not even going to use all this, but we are going to tie one end off just like that. Very simple knot right there at the very end. And I did give myself a hanging point. That's where we're going to hang it in our chamber. All right, so we're going to let that soak for a little while longer while we get the rest of our ingredients together. I am going to be adding a starter culture to help with the fermentation of this salami. We're using Flavor of Italy. Great starter culture. But if you happen to have a different starter culture in your freezer, like TSPX or FLC, you could certainly use those. What you're looking for is something that produces a beautiful Italian-style, Mediterranean-style salami, so nothing too acidic. We're going to put that in a little non-chlorinated water and let it rehydrate for 30 minutes. The pack of starter culture that you use should always go, in my opinion, in a vacuum seal bag back in the coldest part of your freezer. Technically, you don't need a vacuum seal bag, but if you do use a vacuum seal bag, you will prolong the life of your starter culture. Matter of fact, that Flavor of Italy pack, if you look closely, says that the best use-by date is over 4 years ago, and we're still using it today, October 2025. That's because I keep it in the freezer, coldest part, in a vacuum seal bag. Absolutely beautiful. You'll find a link to that vacuum seal bag in the description box below. The spices for this sausage include salt, coarsely ground black pepper. That's going to give us a nice little bite, I think. We also have cure number 2. I'm using a touch of fennel pollen for a floral and slightly sweet element. This is what the fennel pollen looks like. Now, I just transferred it into this container. But if you need fennel pollen, link in the description box below. Great ingredient, especially for dry cured meat. We have dextrose, but I don't want to add too much because we are going to get fermentable sugars from the wine. I have garlic powder, a little fennel seed, and then, of course, savory. Maximum flavor is what we're going for this crumbly salami. When it comes to the fennel seed, you can add it in whole. You can give it a quick little toast. I would absolutely recommend crushing it, though, because you are going to break it apart. It's very aromatic, and you are going to pull more flavor from it. So here we go. We've got our ingredients ready. Our meat is now partially frozen. Between 32 and 34 Fahrenheit is the most ideal temperature to grind your meat. It's going to be slightly firm, but not completely frozen, which is exactly how you want it. That's going to give you the best chance for success. The other thing that you need to pay close attention to is the grinding plate itself. Make sure it's sharp, make sure the knife is sharp, and put a little bit of oil, just a touch, between the plate and the knife, as well as on the auger to minimize the amount of friction. So these are all just very small things you could do to increase the quality of your finished product and minimize any kind of fat smearing or anything like that. Loving the grind here, very pebbly, particle definition looks incredible. And now let's mix. You do want the temperature of the meat to still be under 34 degrees Fahrenheit. So if through the course of grinding, the temperature of the meat increased, you're going to want to re-chill it. So the first ingredient that we're going to add to that bowl is the starter culture. We're going to incorporate that into the meat before we mix anything else. So starter culture in, and we're using the lowest speed on the mixer to incorporate that. Obviously, you could do this by hand. Using a mixer, though, brings it together incredibly quick. Time to add the wine. And last minute, I changed my mind. I want to go white wine instead of red wine. But whichever one you choose to use is okay. Spices are in. And we're going to mix this until we just start to see it get a little sticky. I don't want to overmix this. Like, I don't want it to be super bound together. You know, this is a crumbly sausage, very young sausage. So as soon as it starts to form that element where it looks like it's sticky, we're going to stop mixing. And you should still be able to grab a handful and it'll stick to the bottom of your hand. It's just not, you know, over mixed. Okay, let's get this into that bung. And right now, all of these ingredients together are just working perfectly. Great particle definition, and that's because our meat was chilled before mixing. This should also produce a beautiful looking salami after it's all said and done. All right, if you're going to make salami, you absolutely need to use a dedicated sausage stuffer. It's going to produce the least amount of heat, and it's going to turn out a much better product. This one is from the Sausage Maker, 5 pounds, very economical. And we're going to fill it up with our farce, pounding it down, ensuring we don't have any air pockets, and then loading it on the base. The horn that we're using is the largest one available for this stuffer. That's the 1 1/4 inch horn. And we're going to slide that bung on. When it comes to stuffing this salami, you want to have moderate to firm pressure. You don't want to stuff it too loose, right? Otherwise, you can create problems. And you don't necessarily need to overstuff it. Like, you don't want to stuff it super tight. This is, after all, the Sbriciolona. There's going to be a crumbly quality to it. So we're going to hold moderate to firm pressure. And once we get all that meat in there, we're going to push it out with the sausage stuffing horn cleaner. We're going to be using the bubble knot technique to tie off this salami. So simple knot at the bottom, and then we're going to fold the flap over it and then give it another tie. That's just going to give us a little bit of security. Now, obviously, this is a 1 kilo salami. It's not that heavy. But, you know, if you had 6-7 pounds, then you run the risk of that salami meat coming out the bottom, and you definitely don't want that. So bubble knot at the bottom, and now we're going to give it an overall prick with the sterilized sausage pricker. Make sure you poke it all over. This gets rid of any air pockets. It does help with the breathing. And let's get an actual weight for the salami. So the actual weight right now is 1,078 grams. So on a little piece of paper, I'm going to write, what? 1,018? Let me show you why. So in the recipe, we used a little water and we used a little wine. Both of those ingredients totaled up to 60 grams worth of weight. An actual weight for the salami would be the weight of the salami minus the liquid weight. And that's why we wrote 1,018. That's a true weight for this salami. We want to lose 32%, very young salami. So our target here is 692. When we get to 692, the salami will be ready. Now, in the sausage stuffer, we had a little meat remaining, and we're going to wrap that in cling film to test the pH. We don't want to disrupt that larger chub, so we're going to use this smaller piece to test the pH to determine when we've hit our target. All right, fermenting your salami, which is where we're at now, requires 2 things: temperature and humidity. The flavor of Italy likes the temperature between 75 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and it likes a high humidity. So it doesn't matter where you put your salami to ferment, as long as you can achieve both of those parameters, you're good to go. For me, I'm just going to cover this with cling film and leave it on my counter. The temperature of my room is perfect. It's like 78 degrees, and the humidity is going to be high because we're covering it with cling film. But if you want to put this in an ice chest with a heating mat or an oven with the light on, that's fine. Let's recap. Fermenting temperature, 75 to 85 Fahrenheit or 23 to 29 Celsius. High humidity, above 85%. And this is going to ferment for anywhere between 18 to 24 hours. Every starter culture has its own parameters, so if you have a question about yours, let me know in the comments section. Our pH target is going to be anywhere between 5.1 and 5.3. 20 hours have passed, and we're now going to check the pH. If you're into salami making, one of the most important things you could do here is train your senses. What does it look like, smell like, feel like? These are all things that we try to get better at. Right now, I'm thinking 5.22, somewhere in that range. It's got a glossy finish. It's a little springy. It smells nice and sweet. Hang on. All right, close enough. 5.20. Very good. Anyway, we're in the safe zone. Anything below 5.3 is good. We're going to take this and place it into our dry curing chamber. And this chamber controls the humidity and temperature, and this is where it's going to spend the rest of its life. My guess, it's probably going to take 4 months, maybe a little bit sooner. We are going to be pulling it at 32%, so we'll just have to monitor it here in a few months. Inside the chamber, we want a temperature that's between 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, or 10 to 15 Celsius. The humidity should be between 75 and 80%. And like I said, we're targeting a weight loss very young, between 30 and 32%. And although our salami is in a dry curing chamber, if you happen to have a basement cellar, or heck, even a cave, and those conditions are met, a little bit of airflow, proper temperature, proper humidity, you can place your salami in there and it'll turn out great. Let's take a look at the Sbriciolona. Incredible piece of charcuterie right here. Very, very pleased with the way that it turned out. As far as binds go, I would say we've got a nice bind on this salami, but it's incredibly soft, as you can see right here when I pull it. Easy to pull apart. Let's see if we can, yeah. Oh, that's great. Nice. Let's give it a taste. See how we did.
All right, guys, the Sbriciolona salami. You know what? Let me just grab a whole piece so we can take a closer look at it. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? Dried perfectly, edge to edge, no dry ring. It smells incredible, by the way. The fennel element for this salami is really coming through. And like we showed a minute ago, it's got a bind. It's bound together, but it is incredibly soft. And so it's very easy to pull apart, much easier than a salami dried to 40, 41%. So give it a taste. Wow. That's superb. Very tender, very soft. I don't normally pull salami that young. This is incredibly young, but because of the larger diameter, we did still get that extended, maturation time. I want to say total time in the drying chamber took a little over 3 months, give or take. I'm kind of blown away by how good that is for how young it is. That's incredibly flavorful. Oh, wow. That aroma is incredible. The fennel pollen. And that fennel pollen, that floral sweetness that fennel pollen brings, I think it's pairing perfectly with the wine that we added. Oof, wow. Okay, here we go. The texture is incredibly unique, and I'm kind of loving it. This is so different than what I typically go for in a salami. The savory that we added is definitely boosting the flavor experience. And while I have no doubt that this is a delicious salami on its own, with the addition of that flavor enhancer, this is extraordinary. I like that the cracked pepper is bringing a pepper element, but it's not super overwhelming. It's present, but honestly, it's more of a fennel experience than it is a pepper experience. The pepper is playing on a back note while that fennel is just doing a solo thing, like singing, and it's overall an incredible salami. The fat is super creamy, so when you bite into it, it's like That fat is loaded with all of those unique flavors, and it just melts on your tongue. There is a blooming experience with this salami, so that as you eat it, the flavors just continue to expand and develop. Incredible. Interestingly enough, I had never heard of the Sbriciolona salami until about 11 months ago on the Maltese sausage episode for Celebrate Sausage Season 5. Somebody left me a comment wanting a recipe for the Sbriciolona. I did some research and very quickly formulated a recipe, shared it right there. Matter of fact, here's the comment thread. And this is the first opportunity that we're getting to make that recipe. And it is absolutely worth making. If you're into dry curing meats and making salami, you definitely need to make this Sbriciolona. You'll find a recipe link in the description box below. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section. And if you enjoyed today's episode, give it a thumbs up. If you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, as we are currently on the tail end of Celebrate Sausage Season 6. We only have a few episodes left, but I'll put a playlist right here at the very end of this video so you can start back from the beginning and get caught up. Once we're done with Celebrate Sausage Season 6, though, just a little heads up, we have got a ton of charcuterie related content that I'm going to share with you. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Thanks a lot for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Sbriciolona. Incredible, incredible salami.